A food inspector in a bakery catches Patty using his false teeth to do the design on the edge of apple pies. She yells at him, "Have you not got a tool?" "Yes," replies Patty, "but I use that for the donuts." There was this couple that had been married for 20 years. Every time they made love, the husband always insisted on shutting off the light. Well, after 20 years, the wife felt this was ridiculous. She figured she would break him out of this crazy habit. So one night, while they were in the middle of a wild, screaming, romantic session, she turned on the lights. She looked down and saw her husband was holding a battery-operated pleasure device, a vibrator. Soft, wonderful, and larger than a real one. She went completely ballistic. "You impotent bastard," she screamed at him. "How could you be lying to me all of these years? You'd better explain yourself." The husband looks her straight in the eyes and says calmly, "I'll explain the toy, you explain the kids." A woman hasn't had sex with her husband in years, so he takes her to the doctor. The doctor takes her into the exam room, but he determines that she's healthy and that there is nothing physically wrong with her. So he asks her what could be preventing her from having sex with her husband. She replies, "Well, every morning, my husband gives me money for work, but it only covers my first bus there. So I get in the cab, and the driver asks, 'So you got any money for a ride today or what?' So I ended up having sex with the cab driver to cover my fare. Then I arrive at work late, and my boss calls me into his office and says, 'You're late again. Am I going to have to fire you or what?' So I have sex with my boss to keep my job. Then I don't have any money for lunch. So that's another 'or what' with the cafeteria manager. I come back from lunch late, so that's an 'or what' with my boss again. Then I leave to go home, another cab, another 'or what', so by the time I get back to my house, I'm just completely exhausted." The doctor thinks for a moment. Then he leans back on the table and says, "So, do you want to tell your husband or what?" A woman was very afraid of the size of her opening. Both she and her partner took a mutual vow of abstinence until they were married. Before their wedding, she tells her mother, "I'm so big down there, John will divorce me when he finds out." Her mother replies, "Don't worry, sweetheart, it runs in the family. Do what I did with your father. Go to the market, get some raw liver, and put it in there. He'll never know the difference." She takes her mother's advice, and they have 6 hours of passionate sex on their wedding night. She wakes up the next morning, and he's not home, but a note from him on the night table reads, "Good morning, my sweet. To think that we saved our lovemaking until after we were married. Our heavenly relationship makes my heart beat so loudly, I'm surprised it didn't wake you up. I'm working overtime today to save up for us to have a lovely house on the beach. And we'll have dogs and beautiful children. When my workday is over, I'll rush home so I can take you in a warm, lingering embrace. Your loving husband, John. P.S. Your cunt is in the sink." A prominent lawyer's son dreamed of following in his father's footsteps. After graduating from college and law school with honors, he returned home to join his father's firm, intent on proving himself to be a skilled and worthy attorney. At the end of his first day at work, he rushed into his father's office and said, "Father, father, the Smith case that you always said would go on forever, the one you have been toiling on for 10 years, in one single day, I settled that case and saved the client a fortune." His father frowned and scolded his son. "I did not say that it would go on forever, son. I said that it could go on forever. When you saw me toiling on that case for days and weeks at a time, didn't it ever occur to you that I was billing by the hour?" A woman went on vacation, leaving her husband behind. Before she left, she told him to take extra special care of her beloved cat. The next day, she called her husband and asked if the cat was all right. Her husband said, "The cat just died." She burst into tears and said, "How could you be so blunt? Why couldn't you have broken the news gradually? Today, you could have said that it was playing on the roof. Tomorrow, you could have said that it fell off and had broken its leg. Then on the third day, you could have said that the poor thing had passed away in the night. You could have been more sensitive about the whole thing." The husband was at a loss for words. The wife continued, "By the way, how is my mom?" The husband paused for a moment, then said, "She's playing on the roof." A hooker was visiting her doctor for a regular checkup. "Any specific problems you should tell me about?" the doctor asked. She replied, "Well, I have noticed lately that if I get even the tiniest cut, it seems to bleed for hours. Do you think I might be a hemophiliac?" "Well," the doctor answered, "hemophilia is a genetic disorder, and it is more often found in men, but it is possible for a woman to be a hemophiliac. Tell me, how much do you lose when you have your period?" After calculating for a moment, the hooker replied, "Oh, about $700 or $800, I guess." A big city doctor visits an Indian tribe full of men and he asks, "How do you guys relieve your sexual tension?" "Simple, just come down to the river tomorrow and we'll show you." The next day, the doctor shows up and sees a group of men near a donkey. One man says, "Since you're our guest, you get to go first." The doctor, not wanting to go against custom, starts to kiss, then proceeds to have sex with the donkey. Then a man in the group asks, "Are you almost done, Doc?" "We need the donkey to cross the river to get to the tribe of women." A 70-year-old man has never been married. One day, he meets a beautiful 21-year-old girl, and it is love at first sight. They get married and go to Florida for their honeymoon. When they get back, his friend says to him, "So, tell me, how was it?" "Oh, it was beautiful," says the man. "The sun, the surf, we made love almost every night, His friend interrupts him. "A man your age, how did you make love almost every night?" "Oh," says the man, "we almost made love Monday, we almost made love Tuesday." A young man and his date were parked on a back road some distance from town. They were about to have sex when the girl stopped. "I really should have mentioned this earlier, but I'm actually a hooker, and I charge $20 for sex." The man reluctantly paid her, and they did their thing. After a cigarette, the man just sat in the driver's seat looking out the window. "Why aren't we going anywhere?" asked the girl. The man replied, "Well, I should have mentioned this before, but I'm actually a taxi driver, and the fare back to town is $25. A fellow in a bar notices a woman always alone coming in on a fairly regular basis. After the second week, he made his move. "No thank you," she said politely. "This may sound rather odd in this day and age, but I'm keeping myself pure until I meet the man I love." "That must be rather difficult," the man replied. "Oh, I don't mind too much," she said, "but it has my husband pretty upset." Walking home after a girls' night out, two women pass a graveyard and stop to pee. The first woman has nothing to wipe with, so she uses her underwear and tosses it. Her friend, however, finds a ribbon on a wreath, so she uses that. The next day, the first woman's husband phones the second woman's husband, furious. He said, "My wife came home last night without her panties." "That's nothing," says the other. "Mine came back with a card stuck between her butt cheeks that said, 'From all of us at the fire station, we'll never forget you.'" A man in Scotland calls his son in London the day before Christmas Eve and says, "I hate to ruin your day, but I have to tell you that your mother and I are divorcing. 45 years of misery is enough." "Dad, what are you talking about?" the son screams. "We can't stand the sight of each other any longer," the father says. "We're sick of each other, and I'm sick of talking about this, so you call your sister in Leeds and tell her." Frantically, the son calls his sister, who explodes on the phone. "Like hell they're getting divorced?" she shouts. "I'll take care of this." She calls Scotland immediately and screams at her father, "You are not getting divorced. Don't do a single thing until I get there. I'm calling my brother back and we'll both be there tomorrow. Until then, don't do a thing. Do you hear me?" and hangs up. The old man hangs up his phone and turns to his wife and says, "Sorted, they're coming for Christmas and they're paying their own way." A bodybuilder takes off his shirt and starts flexing in front of a blonde woman. She exclaims, "Wow, what a great chest you have." He says, "Solid dynamite, babe." He then takes off his pants and the blonde says, "Wow, what massive calves you have." He flexes his leg muscles and says, "Like I said, pure dynamite, sweetheart." Then he removes his underwear and the blonde goes running and screaming in fear. He gets dressed and goes chasing after the woman. When he catches up to her, he asks, "Why the hell did you go running off like that?" She replies, "I was afraid to be around all that dynamite when I saw how short the fuse was." A little old lady was walking down the street dragging 2 large plastic garbage bags behind her. One of the bags was ripped, and every once in a while a $20 bill fell out onto the sidewalk. Noticing this, a policeman stopped her and said, "Ma'am, there are $20 bills falling out of that bag." "Oh, really? Darn it," said the little old lady. "I'd better go back and see if I can find them. Thanks for telling me, officer." "Well now, not so fast," said the cop. "Where did you get all that money? You didn't steal it, did you?" "Oh, no, said the old lady. "You see, my backyard is right next to a golf course. A lot of golfers come and pee through a knothole in my fence, right into my flower garden. It used to really tick me off. Kills the flowers, you know. Then I thought, why not make the best of it? So now I stand behind the fence by the knothole, real quiet, with my hedge clippers. Every time some guy sticks his thing through my fence, I surprise him, grab hold of it, and say, 'Okay, buddy, give me $20 or off it comes.'" "Well, that seems only fair," said the cop, laughing. "Okay, good luck. Oh, by the way, what is in the other bag?" The old lady replies with a grin, "Well, not everybody pays."